Coming up, the results of Super Tuesday and what they mean moving forward. And later, learn about the tornado that ripped through Tennessee and the damage it caused.
The seniors of the basketball team had their final game at Carver last night, but were not sent off with a victory. More for you in sports.
We have quite the set of temperatures coming for us this week, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Stay tuned for the upcoming weather.
All that and more on this Wednesday morning edition of DITV News. Don't go anywhere, DITV starts right now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Emily Callahan. 14 states held primary elections on Super Tuesday with 1,357 delegates up for grabs, including California's 415 delegates at stake. We have Daily Iowan politics editor Julia Shanahan in the newsroom to tell us more about yesterday's Super Tuesday results. Julia, how did Super Tuesday change up the pecking order of candidates?
Last night, a lot of eyes were on Bernie Sanders since he was coming with the most momentum out of the early primary states. Even though he did receive the largest trove of delegates in California, Joe Biden still edged him in 9 of the primary states, leaving him the candidate with the most delegates and the highest popular vote.
And how will these results affect the race going forward, and how much will the upcoming primaries impact the counts we're seeing right now?
The Daily Iowan politics team had reporters on the ground in Vermont and Minnesota, and a common theme among Democratic voters is they want a nominee who they think is best suited to beat Donald Trump. So with Joe Biden now in the lead, a lot of voters in the upcoming primary states might view Biden as that candidate who can do that. Michael Bloomberg also had a lot of eyes on him last night, and he did not perform to a lot of people's expectations, winning no state and coming in 3rd and 4th in many of the 14 states.
Thank you, Julia. That was Daily Iowan politics editor Julia Shanahan live from the newsroom. For more information on Super Tuesday, check out this morning's edition of the Daily Iowan. The death toll rises in Tennessee following a violent tornado. The tornado touched down in Nashville early Tuesday morning and destroyed several counties. At least 48 structures collapsed during the storm, and 25 people have been confirmed dead at this time, with an unconfirmed number still missing. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee declared a state of emergency. This marks the United States' deadliest tornado since a storm in Alabama in March of 2019. President Trump offered his condolences to the state and plans to visit the Nashville area on Friday to see the damage. Fortunately for us, there hasn't been any sort of tornadoes in Iowa, but Olivia has more for us in the weather studio.
Thanks, Emily. Get your hammocks ready, Iowa City, because we have a beautiful set of temperatures coming for us, and we should all be excited. You may want to grab your jacket on the way out today, though. This morning we'll start our day off with a chilly high of just 32 degrees and mostly sunny skies. Later in the evening, we can expect temperatures to rise to a high of 43. Looking into the upcoming week, we can plan to see temperatures only go up from here. On Thursday, we have a high of 47. Friday will be a high of 44, leading up to a warm weekend with a high of 58 on Saturday and 64 on Sunday. Even though midterm season is sadly upon us, at least we can study outside and enjoy some sunshine. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Olivia. Tuesday was the first day of former Hillel House Director David Weltman's trial. Weltman is being charged with second-degree sexual abuse after being accused of sexually abusing a child early last year. The trial began with jury selections and rulings on witness testimony. Weltman's attorney, led by Christopher J. Foster, and prosecutors led by Rachel Zimmerman Smith, met with 60 potential jurors. Jurors were asked different questions to determine if they would be able to be fair and impartial during the trial. 13 jurors have been chosen, including one alternate. The judge also ruled that Weltman's ex-girlfriend will not be allowed to testify, but an expert witness will be taking the stand. The trial is scheduled to resume this morning, starting with opening statements. The University of Iowa Faculty Council has unanimously approved revisions to the Assessing the Classroom Environment Survey with hopes to reduce bias in students' evaluations of their course instructors. This includes switching to a new software program used for assessments. This survey will consist of 3 questions about the course and 3 open-ended prompts. This will allow instructors to more easily extract data and reduce known bias against women and racial minorities. Tippy College of Business Associate Dean and co-chair of the task force, Ken Brown, said, quote, "We want to do a lot of cultural stuff. In fact, what we've been working toward is trying to change the culture around assessment here to make it more fair or systematic or pervasive so that we improve teaching," end quote. A task force of faculty, staff, and students was created to help test and revise the new assessment survey. For more information on the council, check out the print edition of the Daily Iowan on stands now. But speaking of things that need to improve, men's basketball might know a little bit about that. Maddie has more for us in the sports studio.
Thanks, Emily. Last night, the Iowa men's basketball team played their final game at home this season. But while the outcome wasn't what they wanted, it was still a record-breaking night. The Hawkeyes had trouble from the start, with Purdue getting out ahead early. The only bright spot for Iowa was junior Luka Garza. Garza had 26 points and 12 rebounds on the night and earned himself first in the single-season scoring list. Iowa would go on to lose this one 77-68.
But ultimately, I think you have to credit your opponent for, playing better and, be mature enough to be able to look at this and say, okay, how do we get better? How do we make sure, this doesn't happen again?
The Hawks will finish out their last regular season game in Champaign when they take on the Fighting Illini on Sunday at 6 p.m. And although Iowa's final home game ended with disappointment, the Hawkeyes still found some time and energy in order to celebrate some achievements. With more on this celebration is DITV sports reporter Tanner Desplank.
Little celebrating was going on after Iowa's loss against Purdue at home. But en route to scoring 26 points on the night, Luka Garza passed the 700-point mark, which placed him as the all-time record holder for single-season points for the Hawks.
He's a good player. Yeah, think about all the attention we just gave him, and he has 26 and 12.
This free throw right here is what helped put Garza over the 700-point mark and beat the 50-year-old record.
During the game, people were excited because of Garza breaking the all-time scoring record, but before the game, the cheers were for the seniors.
The three seniors who were honored were Ryan Kriener, Bakari Evelyn, and Riley Till. Even though all three players impacted the team in different ways, they still all felt the emotional roller coaster of celebrating Senior Day.
Very grateful with the career that I've had, and so at the end of the day, we still got more basketball to play, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
The amount of games left is still unknown with postseason implications, but the Hawkeyes are still guaranteed one last regular season game this weekend.
Reporting from Carver Hawkeye Arena, Tanner Desplank, DITV Sports.
Kriener leads the Hawkeyes with the most points coming off the Iowa bench, which is a cause for his own little celebration. Even though at the end of the game there was no celebrating coming from the Hawkeyes, but in a whole other game in sport, they found a few reasons to be able to celebrate after the game. Hellerball hosted their home opener last night against Grandview University and blew them out of Duane Banks, winning 15-2. Pitcher Hunter Lee recorded his first career start for the Hawkeyes and his first career win, striking out 6 batters in 3 scoreless innings. The Hawks also saw scoreless innings from Jack Guzik, Adam Kettleson, and Jacob Henderson. 12 of Iowa's 15 runs came at the 5th inning or later after Isaiah Fullard hit his first career triple to right center to drive in 2. That was just one of 3 triples for the night. After a 6-run 7th inning and 1 more insurance run in the 8th, the Hawks claimed their first home win of the season. And since we are talking about wins, last night's dub gave head coach Rick Heller his 900th career win. The Hawks head back to Port Charlotte, Florida this weekend to take on Western Michigan, Georgetown, and Army. That wraps it up for me today in the sports studio, but be sure to tune in tomorrow for an update on how the NFL Combine went and who did ahead of the draft. Emily, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Maddie. And thank you all for tuning in to this Wednesday morning edition of DITV News. Be sure to head over to thedailyiowan.com for all your latest news between Monday and Friday. And if that isn't enough, the Daily Iowan for you, be sure to check out our print edition of the news on stands now. For DITV News, I'm Emily Callahan. Have a great day, Iowa City.